Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the cryptocurrency market today as we head into a 3-day weekend because of Memorial Day on Monday. Notice how Bitcoin is currently having a cup of coffee at this 200-period moving average, and we know the weekends are the most manipulated in the cryptocurrency markets due to CME futures markets being closed. This is an extremely critical update to talk about whether or not we're going to see upside for Bitcoin or if we're going to see continued downside, because both scenarios are still on the table and we have yet to get a 100% confirmation of a rescue operation above the previous weekly open at 42,500. And so we're heading into a 3-day weekend. We know the weekends are the most manipulated. This is an extremely important update. And we'll also take a look at what's happening to Ethereum as we are maintaining above that 65,000 Satoshi level, heading towards 77,000 Satoshis. I do believe if we see upside, Ethereum could be the stronger asset, but we do have to address some market structural resistance levels that we're currently facing, and then we'll look at the total cryptocurrency market cap chart, because when we look at home base here at the 20-week moving average, we know we want to stay above this $1.6 trillion level in total cryptocurrency market cap if we want to assume further upside for altcoins. And as we head into the weekend, there is going to be a lot of manipulation in this market. So I'm here to be your umpire and give you a rational perspective of what I'm watching. And we'll also take a look at Bitcoin dominance, of course, because we are still seeing downside here and others dominance still maintaining strength right now. And we are way and above home base at that 20-week moving average, trying to get above the 50-day moving average, showing confluence with the monthly open at 14.2% dominance. And then we'll look at gold, of course, breaking out still, and traditional markets like the S&P 500 showing this bullish daily candle right now as we head into Friday, way and above the monthly open, the previous weekly open, and the weekly open. We just saw inflation numbers released today, and so this is a very positive sign. The DXY is still calm inside of this channel. We have a lot of puzzle pieces to cover on Thursday. We have a lot of daily candles closing tomorrow in traditional markets, and so you guys are watching the Snipers channel. Remember to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. We hit almost 350 likes on our video yesterday. Let's see if we can hit 400 on today's video. And let's first dive into what's happening to Bitcoin, because notice here on the daily chart, and everything morphs from the smaller time frames into the larger time frames. Remember that we are having a cup of coffee right now below a major area at that 200-period moving average on the daily chart. And when we see a move to the downside and this flaggish type of pattern, typically that indicates that if we're having a cup of coffee for long enough, that we are going to most likely continue in the same direction after this cup of coffee is over. But understand, on the macro, we have to realize that Bitcoin is in a transitional phase. We are just now coming below the 20-week moving average right now for the first time, with this weekly candle here being the second weekly candle right now to be open below this 20-week moving average. There is still a potential that we could come up and see some breathing room on the weekend and upside, but there are some very major levels to watch in order to determine whether we're going to see weekend manipulation to the upside or downside. And so we come into the 4-hour chart where things start to morph into the larger time frames from the smaller time frames. Notice how the 4-hour has a lot of sell pressure, and we have yet to see buyers equate to this amount of sell pressure. But we know that on the 6-hour chart, it does look like there is a lot of volume inside of this pocket here between 35,000 and this major support at 24,000. We don't want this door to open. Remember, below this weekly open at 34,800 opens the door to 24,000. And so that's a very large gap, and we're playing an extremely dangerous game trying to long if we're starting to see hourly and 4-hour confirmation candles below this weekly open at 34,800. So my thesis stands true right now. We are in a no trade zone between this weekly open and previous weekly open. If you wanted to long, the opportunity was here below 32,000, and of course with Ethereum coming down below 2,000 US dollars. But inside of this channel, we do not know yet, is this going to break to the upside or is this going to break to the downside? And here's going to be the first confirmations in order to assume which direction we're heading towards. Well, let's first look at this Ichimoku cloud on the 4-hour chart. Notice how it's not acting as resistance anymore. We're coming into the Ichimoku cloud. That's a positive thing. We've yet to see a break above that. That could be a first confirmation. I only use indicators as confirmation. So notice the 4-hour on the Ichimoku is acting as a resistance right now. We are above the weekly open, which is a positive sign. And it wasn't a coincidence that the weekly open was here at 34,800, and we've had this level drawn out for over 90 days. And so at this point, if we start to see continued price action to the upside, the inverse head and shoulder pattern still stands true, whatever you want to call it. There is a potential inverse head and shoulder pattern here. 42,500 would be the confirmation that, in my opinion, we're going to see 50,000 again, because when we look at the schematics of this, as we looked at yesterday, that takes us to retest the 50-day moving average and the 100-day moving average, and that would get us above, right at that $54,000 target if we see a breakout above 42,500, the previous weekly open. So we want to monitor that for Bitcoin. That would also assume that we're getting above the 200-day moving average on the daily chart, and then this could have just been a destination and a reversal in trend. But the fact of the matter is we have to address the other side of this, and that is the fact that we are having a cup of coffee at a major level. And the longer we're having a cup of coffee here, the more we need to monitor the price action on the smaller time frames, because if we start to come below 36,500 here, we've already come down into this small pocket between 36,500 and 38,000. But if we continue to see 4-hour hourly candles close below 38,000 and we start to test 36,500, that's going to be the first signs that we're potentially going to be seeing downside here for Bitcoin. That final confirmation for me is 34,800. A lot of people are saying 32,000. In my opinion, if Bitcoin breaks 34,800, then we're going to see 24,000. So we want to monitor this, an extremely critical channel and range that we're in right now with Bitcoin. And when we transition into Ethereum, we'll also look at the total cryptocurrency market and traditional markets in just a sec. But I do want to address this inverse head and shoulder pattern forming inside of this fair market value range that Ethereum has shown to be a good asset and showing healthy price action within this channel over a long period of time. And notice how if we get a confirmation right now above this channel here, right around that $2,900 level, it's a straight shot to 3,500. And so this inverse head and shoulder pattern is also forming, and it's right inside of this channel. This is an extremely interesting chart. We don't want to see Ethereum get below 2,500 at this point, because that would assume a retest of the $2,000 level where the weekly open is sitting. But right now we're still inside of this channel. We still have this potential market structure. And so there is a potential we could see upside here. I think that if we lean towards the bullish side into the weekend, that Ethereum will perform better, because the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is maintaining itself above 65,000 Satoshis. And we already kind of saw an inverse head and shoulder pattern starting to play out right now, breaking out of this neckline already, heading towards that 77,000 Satoshi level. That assumes more strength for Ethereum than Bitcoin if we start to see momentum in the market. And here's what I'm watching into the weekend. It's a 3-day weekend, and altcoins are in jeopardy right now because this 20-week moving average at home base is also being tested for the cryptocurrency overall market. And so with this candle closing in 3 days, I want to see $1.6 trillion maintained. Preferably we get above 1.75 trillion. That's a confirmation that we're going to come up back to 2 trillion. But if we get below 1.6 trillion, that's when I would start to say that things are getting a little bit riskier in the market. And so a lot of that will have to do with what happens to Bitcoin, of course. But we look at Bitcoin dominance. It doesn't look like we're seeing a reversal yet. We're still showing bearish price action and a continuation of this downtrend after this relief rally. And so expect others' dominance to still do well here. And when we look at traditional markets, as we head into the weekend, gold still showing strength. That's a signal that institutions are hedging their bets against traditional markets into commodities. And so silver and oil will also probably do well. And the gold to Bitcoin chart, where we predicted the top for Bitcoin here, covering it inside of this triangle before we broke down below this 50-day moving average. This is an inverted chart, by the way. Notice how we're still forming this channel, most likely going to continue in the same direction as the rule applies. And so let's continue to monitor that. The DXY, though, showing some calmness, which is very good for the environment outside of the cryptocurrency markets, and that does affect the price action. The S&P 500 looking like it wants to close very bullish for this week. So we've broken some major resistance already. That looks like it wants to continue further up. Let's continue to monitor that into next week. Now, outside international markets right now, closing quite well here, Japanese markets. We could assume, though, this is a bear flag. So it's going to be an interesting week coming up, but I'm really focused on the weekend right now. The Shanghai Composite here showing strength, just like the CSI 300, and then the Euro 100 also showing strength. So a lot happening, but here's what I want you snipers to monitor here as we head into the weekend. First and foremost, Bitcoin is in a no trade zone. We need to watch 42,500, and then we also have to watch that weekly open here at 34,800. Confirmation comes below or above these levels, 1 hour and 4 hour candles, and above 42,500 assumes that we'll come back up towards that $54,000 level. Below 35,000, we start to open the door towards that $24,000 level. So if you want to win one of my favorite books on value investing, Principles by Ray Dalio, comment below and share this video, and I'll pick one of you on our video tomorrow to win this book. And let's go ahead and pick a winner from our video yesterday. Jacob Cotu says, Sniper Gang in the house. Let's get these ETH. Send me a message on Instagram. The link is in the description below, and you want a book. And by the way, if you guys want to check out the podcast version of our videos, the link is in the description below, anchor.fm/Traders Profit Club. We have iTunes, Spotify, and many other platforms like Google Podcasts. I highly recommend you guys check out our podcast. And with that, thank you all for tuning into the Snipers channel today. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's going to be an interesting Friday as we close, heading into a new 3-day weekend with Memorial Day coming up, and it's going to be an exciting time. And with that, thank you all for tuning in today. Until next time, Snipers